Good afternoon. How are you doing today? We are now in our traditional Friday Fire Chat. And today we have the pleasure to talk with Kevin Turbo Verre. Then he was the organizer of the hackathon of last week. And we are going to have a great chat and no more. First and all, welcome. Thank you very much to be with us.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, and now, where Turbo comes from? What that means? Everybody knows you as Turbo more than Kevin.
Yeah, so it's only like a year old, but it comes from me being really energetic one morning. I'm also like a really fast typer, so I think it fits. And there was a guy here who introduced himself as Splash, and I thought that was really cool, so I decided to bring out Turbo.
I remember very much Splash. He was changing his nickname every now and then, and that was a very good way to identify him. And well, that was right. And you say you are a very fast typer. I recall that last week you made a challenge to people. Somebody beat you?
No. So we played Type Racer last weekend, which is this website where you try to type as fast as you can. And it was like me and 3 other people, and I won. So I came in first. So you go to Type Racer, and it gives you like a paragraph, and you try to see who can type it the fastest. And I had like 110 words per minute. I think the fastest I've gotten is like 125.
Oh boy, that's a lot of things. Yeah. Well, that's a great thing. And tell us, where do you come from? What do you do? What is the kind of activities that you enjoy doing that?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Chicago area, and then I moved to Silicon Valley in 2012. And right now I'm working for Apple as a software engineer. But when I first moved out to California, I was working at smaller companies. And I never started my own startup, but there were definitely times when I dreamed about starting my own startup. So earlier on in my career, I was really interested in working at small companies and things like that. And now I've been at Apple for like maybe 4.5 years-ish. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been good. And I do full stack web development. So I started out as a back-end developer. And then later on, I became a full stack web developer. So nowadays, I write lots of Python and lots of JavaScript and TypeScript.
That's great. And I am curious in 2 things. You say you born and raised in Chicago. First of all, what made you move from Chicago to Silicon Valley?
Yeah, so I went to college for computer science. And during college, I realized that all of the best software engineers were moving to Silicon Valley after graduation. So I knew I wanted to move out here also. I got a job off. I remember when I was a senior in college, I got a job offer from like Bank of America to stay in Chicago. But I really wanted to try moving out to California. So I took a job offer from this company called simplyhired.com, which was a job search engine in Sunnyvale. And so my first job in California was writing scripts and automation and little internal tools websites for a job search engine.
And that's interesting. And before getting that job, you were here in Silicon Valley sometime before, or was it the very first time that you traveled here?
I visited a couple times, but never stayed for an extended period of time. So, yeah, just like, I remember one time in college, I visited San Francisco for Game Developers Conference, GDC. And that was a lot of fun. It happened, I think they still do it every year in San Francisco, and I got to see different people talk about working in the game industry and stuff.
Well, that's interesting. You know that I talk a lot about being in Silicon Valley and bringing people from all around the world. We have now a group of people from Japan that is visiting here for 2 or 3 weeks in the same way that you came here for one week. And that's very good that these people is learning. Now, when you came here, what was your feeling? What was the experience? Because the life in Chicago is very different from the life in Silicon Valley. What was that experience for you?
Yeah, it had lots of ups and downs because when I first came out here, I wasn't like a great programmer. So I had to learn a lot and get better at programming so that I could be more useful to teams and companies.
And how long it took to you to get on shape and doing well here?
Yeah, I always feel like there's tons of things that I don't know. Definitely, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. But now, eventually, after several years of being out here, I started to develop some confidence in my ability to like build good websites and stuff like that.
And now you work in one of the most advanced companies in the world doing things. But that is an experience that it is very much true that here, anybody learns, and you have a great talks and great chats with people, and you find that it's still been too many other things. Are you already familiar on getting involved in this fashion today that is the artificial intelligence? What is your feeling in that line?
Yeah, so I've been reading a lot about it. I haven't been doing a lot of coding or training of my own models. So what I have been doing is I wrote a Python script that interacts with the ChatGPT API. So I love ChatGPT. I love having conversations with it. The script that I wrote in Python was for the previous hackathon that helped inspire my hackathon. And so that was try to use ChatGPT to automatically write textbooks. So we wrote a Python script to try to do that. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what people will do over the next 10 years in artificial intelligence and generative AI and stuff like that.
That is going to be very interesting. We maybe come back into that subject, but you mentioned here something. You went to a hackathon, and that inspired you to do your own hackathon. That transformation is very important, and the people need to know how that happens. Tell us a little bit, which one was that first hackathon, and why you decide to make it that?
Yeah, so there was the generative AI hackathon. That was, I believe, at the end of June. And then mine was around the end of August. So it was like 2 months in between there. And I had a really fun time at the generative AI hackathon, even though my team didn't win anything or even get like an honorable mention or anything. But we had a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun. And I learned a lot because I got to play around with the ChatGPT API a lot. And so I knew that I was having a really good time. And so I knew that, one, I wanted to attend more hackathons, and two, I thought it'd be really fun to host one, and it was. So if you're out there listening and you're thinking about hosting a hackathon, you should definitely go and do it. However, I wasn't confident when I first started planning it. I think what I did was I posted to the Hacker Dojo Slack. First, what I did is I wrote some notes up for the hackathon about what I thought my hackathon would be like and what I thought the rules should be. And then I posted those rules to the Hacker Dojo Slack because I wanted to get feedback. I wasn't sure if people would be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, do that. But then people seemed to like the idea. At first it didn't have a theme. I was just like, oh, we're not going to have a theme. It's just like a general hackathon. And then once I started talking about Tiana helped organize a meeting for Hacker Dojo members and event planning. And I asked them, hey, what do you guys think about the theme of make the world a better place? And so everyone said, yeah, that's a good idea. So it wasn't just like, oh, I had this idea and I was super confident. No, it was like I had this idea, then I would talk to people to get feedback, and that helped me build confidence that, hey, this is something I can actually do, and I can actually, at first I wasn't sure if anybody was going to show up, and then people started signing up for the meetup page. So I was like, okay, this is cool. People are actually going to show up. This is great.
But that is very interesting. Is you are a member from Hacker Dojo for how long?
So I've been a member for like a year, but I remember several years ago I would hang out at some of the events and things.
In that sense, you already have some idea about the Hacker Dojo and how you found that very first time that you came here.
One of my buddies, he was originally my friend from college, and I went to University of Illinois, so I met him there. And then he was living in this area, and I moved here, and he brought me to the Hacker Dojo.
That's great, and is a word of mouth, and the people invite, and it's a very pleasant. And now your experience that you say you came here to say I want to do a hackathon, and you didn't have the full idea how to do it. One of the jobs of the Tiana as a community manager is, okay, what do you need it, how to get involved, and how was that? I really would like to learn more about that point of view and share with the people, because a lot of people sometimes say, I would like to do something, and they never move forward. And you did it, and the result was a fantastic hackathon. You are going to tell us about that a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely. If you have an idea for an event, you should just go for it and do it, because we desperately need more events on our calendar. Like, there's been tons of cool events over the past year, but they've only happened because people decided to make them happen, and we need. It can't just be like me and, obviously right now we already have some great events on the calendar. I love that we have like a Rust meetup, a Python meetup, data structures and algorithms, the innovative ideas. Those are all great, but we need more of that. I only have so much time and energy, so I can't, we need more people contributing, hopefully.
Yeah, and the result is good, because it happens that you start creating that idea, how you came from a general concept to a very specific, and then you invite some friends, and even them were not members of the Hacker Dojo, and were part of your team to develop that activity.
Yeah, so I asked around for co-hosts. Because I knew it'd be more fun if I had co-hosts. And Ash and Solani said they wanted to be co-hosts, that they were the only ones that replied back and said yeah. But I was super lucky to have them because they were super helpful. So yeah, if you're thinking about hosting an event here, definitely ask for help, because I think there's a lot of people here who are interested in helping you out if you ask for help. And to whom you ask for help. That something that is fantastic here in the Hacker Dojo is you have a question and you want to get help. And that's mentoring. Mm-hmm. Who has been your mentors, and also to whom you are a mentor, because that is a complete circular process in some way. Yeah, I mean, the Hacker Dojo Discord is a great resource. The Hacker Dojo Slack, there's all sorts of you can just ask around.
But who's
mentored me?
Yeah.
Who have I mentored? There's been a lot of people throughout my career that have had a big positive impact on me. Whether it's managers or coworkers or friends. Yeah, I can think of several people who have had a big positive impact on my career. Whether and people that I learned a lot from, or people that I ask questions to when I'm not sure. And then there's also been some people, I haven't mentored a ton of people, but there's been some, like, for sure.
And that is something that the people need to think about. That is, you need to ask, and it's a place. It's very pleasant. I really enjoy when the people comes to me and approach me and say, "Hey, I want to do something." Sometimes you don't know how to do it, and you can point to somebody else that knows how to do it, or you gave a full general discussion. Okay, why you don't do these things, or has you thinking in different points. That experience of having that conversations is part of the way of doing the live hearings in the Hacker Dojo. How you find that value? And then is open. You sit here and are working, and some people is afraid even to call, get close to you and ask for help. And general, everybody here looks and say, "How I can help you?" What is your experience?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely show up to events is one thing you can do besides just hosting events. So, for example, I'm going to plug. Once a month, on the third Saturday of every month, we have the Computer Programming Club that I host. And but I'm also looking for co-hosts or people who want to host it if I'm not around. But that's a good place you can go to meet people. But yeah, just the more events you show up to, the more chances you have to meet interesting people or helpful people. But definitely, you have to be proactive and ask people. You can't just expect people to come to you.
That's important, and we need to encourage people to make it that. And in some way, one of the dreams that we would like to have here that happens very well in the previous Hacker Dojo when we were in Santa Clara was a full team of people that all the time was continuously asking for help and helping other people and keep that continuous number of events, and the quality of the events at that time was fantastic. We're getting into that level, but we need to push and try to set the bar higher and higher every time.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I do really well actually at work is that I ask tons of questions. So I think when you're younger, you're a little bit more afraid of asking too many questions because you feel like, oh, they're paying me to be smart and figure it out on my own. But now what I realize is if I just ask tons of questions, they tend to be good questions that everyone has, and they tend to help get a lot of work done. So that's one way at my job that I help get a lot of work done is I ask lots of good questions.
That's great. And now coming back into the hackathon, what was the best experience that happens? What was the results that you saw last week?
Yeah, so several people came up to me and thanked me for hosting it. So that was definitely the most gratifying part of it. So yeah, that was the point was to make it a fun event, to have a hackathon and to have people have fun, to make projects that make the world a better place, for people to make friends and meet people, for people to get practice coding. So there was a lot of good things, but one of the best parts was just that people seemed to really enjoy it and really appreciate it.
And just to close this conversation, then really is very interesting to know how things happen here. What you would like to suggest to the people about making better use of the Hacker Dojo, what they should be doing to help us to really be the best place in the Silicon Valley to hang out, learn, and enjoy.
Yeah, definitely have I recommend people have a bias towards action. Like if you think of an idea, you should go for it. For example, I wasn't sure if I should ask John if I could be the Fireside Chat guest or not, but I was just like, I had the idea, so I should go for it. I shouldn't chicken out. So if you have an idea, go for it, and try not to chicken out on your good ideas. The other thing, really quick, is that think about the things that you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about something, there's a good chance that there's going to be other people who are passionate about it too, but not everybody is going to be passionate about it. So like, I know that people who are learning the programming language Rust, it's like a new language that's been trendy, they're super passionate about Rust, but but I don't know anything about it. So there are different aspects of tech and entrepreneurship that I'm really into, and there's other aspects that other people are really into, and that's okay, because we've got plenty of time and space to host a bunch of different events.
That's great, and I really I grab from your point of view is the only thing that you need to learn is to do not know. If you don't know, ask and be active. Then you will learn. But if you do not know something, don't be afraid. It's an opportunity to have a great time. And thank you very much. And we appreciate it. It was a great hackathon, and we hope to see more events like that. And you need to be an inspiration for all these people and the people here to say, we can do it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jorge.